This is the Creative Freelancing Podcast, session number 6. Welcome everybody to session number 6 of the Creative Freelancing Podcast. Coming up in today's show, we're going to be looking at fear. And I'll be taking you through the top 5 freelancing fears and how we can overcome them. That's all coming up in today's Creative Freelancing Podcast. Welcome everybody to session number 6 of the Creative Freelancing Podcast. I hope you're well. I hope you've been busy and you've been creating lots of cool stuff. Things still haven't changed for me baby-wise. Today is the actual due date for our new baby boy. And I'm going to run a competition, I think. I've just decided right now I'm going to run a competition. So how about we do it as this? It's going to be a boy, and his name is going to be Louis, if everything's okay. So I want to run a competition. If you can guess the closest to the weight of the baby and the time and day of birth. So what day is he going to be born on? What time and what weight? No, actually, I'll make it easy. Let's just stick with the weight, okay? I want you to get the closest to the weight of baby Louis, okay? Whoever gets the closest, I'll give a free caricature to. I'll draw them a caricature and send it off in the post. It doesn't matter where you live in the world. I will send you a colour caricature. You'll just need to send me your photo. But there's a caveat to it. If you want to join in, you need to be part of my monthly newsletter list. So you need to go to creativefreelanceincome.com/newsletter, sign up to the newsletter there, and then you can drop me an email from it and tell me what you think the weight will be, and I'll send you a free caricature. It doesn't have to be of you. You can do it for your partner, a loved one, a friend. If you've got a birthday coming up, might be a cool thing for them. So that's my little gift to you. So yeah, we've got the baby coming. It's due today. I'm waiting for the phone call. I've got my phone here, so if my phone goes off, I'm going and getting home to her. So yeah, it's a bit kind of scary, really, since the theme's about fear, kind of fits, really. I'm worried about, at the moment, my car is off the road. It's the MOT's due, and it's going to fail. So I'm not driving. I'm catching the bus in the mornings, which is it's quite nice because I get to read, but it's rubbish that it's raining most mornings. But yeah, so I'm worried that if I get the call off Katie that she's in labour, I've got to then walk to the bus station, get the bus, get there, and try and get home. So I'm kind of scared of that. I'm scared of whether our house is big enough for 2 kids and us. I'm scared that my little boy, Sonny, our first child, is going to feel pushed out and sort of insecure that we've got a new baby and somebody else to focus on as well. So I'm kind of worried for him. And I'm also worried about my wife and labour. The last time she went into labour, it was 53 hours, and she had 3 epidurals, and wow, it was unbelievable, and she was amazing. I don't know how women can go through that. I really don't. So I've got kind of those fears for me as well, and that's really apt for today's session. Today's session is all about freelancing fears and kind of what that does to you and your creativity. If you're looking to launch your career as a freelancer, you might want to become a writer or a crafter or a designer. What's been holding you back, and what's stopping you from fulfilling your dream of becoming freelance and getting that freelance freedom that you're longing for? And I've come up with 5 of them that I constantly get asked. I get emailed and asked, and there might be variations, but there's kind of an underlying theme that we're going to look at with all of these fears. And I think as a freelance artist and in any of this kind of artistic field, it's not like other businesses in a way that other businesses, they don't have the manufacture of the actual product isn't so tied to somebody's personality as much as it is for a creative artist or designer or writer. The act of creating something itself is kind of brave, and not only do you have to kind of put your personality into it, you then have to release it into the world and let other people judge it and scrutinize it and make comments about it. And when that happens, it's sort of your own personality that's being looked at as much as the actual product. and that can be quite scary, and it's puts a lot of people off kind of launching. And we need to overcome fear. Still got a cold. Sorry, I didn't even get my hanky out. Sorry about this. I'm so professional. So we need to overcome fear, because fear is the thing that will rip out your confidence. It will kill your creativity. It ends relationships, and it's going to kill your creative freelance business dead. It is the thing that will stop you from taking your stuff to the next level, and it's gonna keep you small. And what we need to do is go big. We need to get out there, get eyes on our work, and start living the thing that we live to do. Okay? We live to create, we live to share, we live for people to look at our work and have it. And that feeling that somebody wants our stuff so much that they'll pay money for it is amazing. So we can't let fear rob us of that potential. So the 5 freelancing fears, the top ones, the ones that I get asked all the time. The first one is the fear of our internal critic. Now, I've talked about internal critics before briefly. We're going to look at a little bit more of that in depth. Your internal critic, you know this person, you know this voice. It's the voice in your ear hole that says to you, you can't do that. What? Oh, if you do that, then all your family are depending on you are going to not be able to eat for a month. You're so selfish. This isn't a real job. Why can't you earn like other people? It's all of those kind of ridiculous things that voice says. Oh, you're copying off someone. Oh, it's not good enough. It's not good enough like theirs. What if this? What if that? That internal fear, that internal critic is such a knobhead. You don't need it in your life. Now, you need to kind of get to know your internal critic. And with the other fears that I'm going to talk about, we're going to look at some of the internal voices that you might be getting from each of these fears. But underlying all of them is this voice. It's your inner critic constantly telling you you're not good enough, basically. You won't cope with this stuff. So get to know it. That's action number 1. You need to kind of know who this critic is. What is its voice? Does it change? Get to know it. Does it have a particular twang to it? Does it remind you of someone? Like sometimes my internal critic reminds me of my dad. Okay, sometimes it's a bit like, ooh, my dad didn't like that all the time, but especially with my creative stuff, my dad challenged me a lot about it. I went to uni. Why aren't you getting a proper job? You want to get some money in your pocket. You want to support your family. You can't be going off doing this. It's time to get in the real world. And he wasn't criticizing me. He was making sure that it was what I really wanted to do. He was kind of putting that into place. But your internal critic is undermining you, and we need to find out who it is, what its voice is, so that we can squash it. And there's one way you can squash that internal critic, and that's by taking action. Prove it wrong. Gag it shut. We're going to tape its mouth up with action. Okay? So each of the rest of the fears, we're going to take action to shut off this internal critic and stop it from telling you how rubbish you are at everything. So what I'd love to know as well is in the show notes, if you can drop me some of the internal critic things that are coming up while you're listening to this. Because my internal critic right now is, I'm a bit waffly. Stop waffling. People won't want to listen to it. That's the voice. Shut up, internal critic. I'm not interested. So that's number 1. Number 2, fear number 2 is the fear of taking the giant leap from hobby or pastime to full-time professional artist, designer, writer, illustrator, right? The jump. Freelance fear. How am I going to do it? Okay? How am I going to let go? Now, if you've got a job already, that's a biggie, isn't it? You've got to let go of you've got to let go of the security of a job to the insecurity of freelancing. And your little internal critic might be saying things like this. How can I give up my job security? What if I end up working every hour of the day just to make ends meet? What are my parents going to say? What will my friends say? What happens if I can't go out and I'm not earning as much as they are? What if I can't get my car fixed? What if I'm not wearing the nicest of clothes? What will my wife say if I'm not in the rat race? My wife won't mind, really. I don't think But, that could be your internal critic talking to you. Now, if this is your issue, I think this is probably one of the top ones. There's a reason why it's the top on the list, really, or past the actual internal critic. And that is probably because it's the one reason why most people haven't gone full time. How do they make the jump from pastime and making a little bit of money to full time? And really, you need to shut your voice off. You need to shut your critic up. Now, that's all right, me saying, tell your critic to be quiet. How? How are we going to do it? Well, I'll tell you how we're going to do it. You're going to start making money out of your work. And you're going to prove to your critic you can make money out of it. And once you start earning money out of it, you can tell your critic, all I need to do now is get this built up. I need to build this up so that I can replace my current income. And that's all you need to do. As soon as you start selling stuff, you're making money out of it. People want it. You're proving to yourself that the product you're offering to your customers and clients is one that fulfills a need. It is fulfilling a desire. Your people want it. Now, you can do this today. It's easy. Okay? If you're a writer, a crafter, an illustrator, an artist, get yourself onto Redbubble. I've made a video. It's a bit long. I've had some people tell me it's a bit long. There you go. That's my internal critic. But some people have told me it's a bit long. But I wanted it to be thorough. I wanted it to give you all the steps of how to take an illustration and make it into an iPhone case or a T-shirt or an iPad or something like that. Now, if you're a writer, find a calligrapher and get them to make you a beautiful calligraphy picture of your poem, or get like a really great font off a great site called DeFont. Get a font off there and type out your poem or a section of your writing, or team up with an illustrator and ask an illustrator to design and split the money. If you're a crafter, get some images of whatever it is you make. Scan some of the patterns you might be doing. That kind of stuff. If you're printing textiles, that's going to be perfect for an iPhone case or a Samsung Galaxy or something. Get yourself onto the tutorial. It's on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes down there somewhere. But get on it. Get your stuff uploaded. It costs you absolutely nothing to do. All you have to do is upload an image, and that's it. It's done. Redbubble will print them, manufacture them, package them, send them out. You don't have to do anything other than collect the money. This week I made 25 quid just about because I sold two items. I sold an iPhone. What did I sell? Sold a print, and I sold a T-shirt. So, and this is an old design. This is a design I've done the year before last. It was something I was showing my students how to do. Just uploaded it, sold it, made a bit of money. 25 quid. I'm not going to make a living off 25 quid. Somebody wanted my product. If somebody wants it, all I need to do now is build. I can make more of it, more products, get more people to buy, more outlets, find more places to sell. Okay? Once you make £1 out of what you're making, you've got potential to earn. And you can tell your critic it can keep quiet now because it is legitimate. It is a business. We've just got to build it. And that's going to take time to build, but the potential is there to make money. So, fear number one, make some cash. That was fear number two, wasn't it? Fear number three is the fear of failure. Now, that sounds a bit obvious, that fearing failure, but it's things like this. What happens if you start out, you tell everybody you're going to set up, and then nobody actually wants to buy you things? You're going to look like an idiot in front of your family. You're going to have told your friends you're setting up, and they're going to think you're stupid. And in your internal critic will tell you that, I told you so, I told you couldn't do it, what a stupid waste of time, now you've made yourself look an idiot in front of your friends, you shouldn't have started in the first place, right? First of all, let's get it clear, not taking action at all is failing. That's the only time you fail, is by not taking action. And it's not just a little bit of action you need to take. You can't just stick at your normal production of action. You need to take massive action. You need to get up and work and work and work and get attention for yourself. And I want to ask you something, and I'm going to tell you something. Have you ever failed so badly at something that you could never recover from? Has it happened yet? No, because you're listening to me and you're on the website and you've still got the desire to create. I have every faith in you that you've got what you need to succeed. Okay, I've got every faith that you've got enough inside you to push you through. Otherwise, you won't be here. Because if it becomes to the point where you've failed so spectacularly that you can't get through it, you wouldn't be here. So it's a bit like putting things into perspective a little bit. Now, I'm going to tell you something about failure. One of my stories of failure, and it's a big fear for some people, this would probably be. It's like a worst case scenario situation, and that's what we're going to look at. When I was 16, I was in the school sixth form, retaking every single exam apart from art because I failed everything, because I was drawing too much in everybody else's lessons. So I was in the sixth form, and every year at Christmas, the sixth formers put on a panto for the rest of the school. And each year group would come in and sit down and watch this panto. And each year you'd have a school band that had been formed for the panto. And they were like quite cool. It was always like the long hair rockers, okay? And everybody in the school thought, oh, brilliant, look at those cool people. Well, I did. Maybe I was just a bit sad. So it's the sixth form panto. And I was into heavy metal quite a lot when I was at that age. I still am really, but, you know, I'm getting old for it. And the actual lead singer of the band ended up going off with tonsillitis, and they were stuck. And so a mate of mine was in the band, and he said, "You know Metallica and the Sex Pistols. Can't you sing it for us?" And I was a bit like, I don't know. Now I like singing. I sing with my students all the time. I can't sing at all, but I love singing. I don't care. I just sing in front of them, but at the time, I'm 16. There was a girl in the third. I was in the sixth form. There was a girl in the fourth year I fancied, called Nicola. I can't remember her last name, but God, I fancied her. And I thought, this is the way to do it. I'm going to become a singer. I can be a singer. This is what I can do. So I knew the words inside and out. I used to listen to Metallica all the time. So I knew the words, and we had about an hour and a half practice in the day. Yeah, I'll do it. And we had a practice, and they would say, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. And then it came to the time of the performance. It still makes me cringe. Came to the time of the performance. I'm stood at the mic. The band are behind me. And in file the year group with the girl I fancy in it. And I see them all come in. And they keep coming. And they keep coming. And they fill up the hall. And there's about 150 of them. And as they come in, I'm getting more and more nervous. And now I'm starting to sweat. And I can feel my mouth going dry. And I think, oh my word. What am I doing here? What have I done? I am out of my depth. I cannot cope with this. So I thought, well, don't worry about it. You know the words. All you've got to do is concentrate on the words. So the band come in, they start playing the intro. That still makes my heart beat fast. And so this comes in, and I'm so nervous. I start singing, and I come in too early on the intro. So I've started singing way too early. And my mate, who's the guitarist, kicked me in the back to tell me to stop singing. So I got a boot in the back from him, which was painful. Stopped singing, so I'd already started and then stopped. Completely lost my way in the song, and so I had to hum my way through Enter Sandman, the whole song, until it got to the chorus where exit line. That's the end of it I sang, because I completely forgot the words and hummed through it. And the whole year group laughed. I'm 16 and I've got the whole year group laughing at me for forgetting my words. Oh my word. I could have died. I honestly just wanted to crawl into a hole and die. And I never thought that I would get through it. I never thought that I would get over the ridicule of being laughed at by the whole year group, including the person I fancied so much. But I did. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Within about 5 years, people stopped laughing. But really, it was old news. I think I got laughed at about 2 days, and then it was forgotten about. I carried on laughing at myself and cringing about it. To this day, every time that song comes on, I'm back in that place. But I survived it. I got through it. And that's really what all of this fear is about. It's about putting it into perspective. That's really how you're going to overcome this fear of failing. How bad is it really going to be if you fail? Now, I'm not talking about putting your family on the street and failing that way. I'm talking about not taking the action or not taking enough action to succeed at it. And if you fail, this word fail, you don't fail unless you don't take action, because it's not a failure. You always got something to learn from. With the singing in front of the school, there was two main things that I learned from that. The first one is prepare. Get prepared or prepare to fail. That is the first thing I learned from it. I hadn't practiced. I hadn't rehearsed. I thought I could just rely on my skill, my singing skill, but I hadn't practiced it. So I'd not prepared for it. So if you're not prepared for your business, if you haven't got enough product, if you haven't prepared enough beforehand to make sure that you've got enough in the bank ready for it, if you haven't got enough product in there, if you haven't got enough marketing done, then you're not going to succeed. So prepare for it. And the second thing is that I learned that things are never as bad as they first seem. I can take a step back and think, is anybody going to die from this? That's my benchmark. If nobody dies, then it's not that bad. Okay, it's not that bad. If somebody dies, you shouldn't be doing it. What are you playing at, right? If nobody dies, it's not the end of the world. If you run out of money, you'll get a job. You go on the dole. You'll get benefit. Something will happen to save it. Okay, you've got a skill, and you can make money out of it. If it means going on the street and giving out poems for like busking for poems. If it was me and I was completely destitute, I'd get my sketchbook, I'd get a pen, and I'd draw pictures of people. That would be it, because I'd have to do it. Would have put myself in a position where I've got to make it. I've got to make some money. But the chances of that happening are really slim. The chances of you being in a situation where it's gone, everything, is slim, because you're going to prepare. You will have prepared for stuff. And by following these advice, hopefully, you won't be in that situation anyway. So get it into perspective. So the first one's prepare. Second one, put it in perspective. Think about what the worst case scenario is. What is the very worst thing that could happen? Usually it comes down to ridicule and your own hurt pride. So what? So what? I don't care. Don't care about it. If you haven't ever tried, then that's where you should be ridiculing yourself, because you didn't at least give it a go. And build up small. Take it in small chunks. It doesn't have to be everything at one go right now. Okay, so that was fear number 3. Fear number 4 is the opposite. It's the fear of success. That's some kind of weird world we're living in, where not only can you be scared of failing, you can be scared of succeeding too. Now, I have this fear. This is one of my fears. I think sometimes I tell myself that I'm lazy. My internal critic says that I'm a lazy person. And, you're going to have loads of work on. You're just going to be working all the time. You'll never have any free time. You're going to neglect your family. And, we're going to just be working all the time. And life will just be all about work. I want to lie on the sofa and watch telly. Now, that internal critic is such a liar. It's such an undermining, vindictive little shitbag. Oh, I better bleep that out. But it's vindictive. I'm not a lazy person. I'm not motivated to do some of the things that I hate doing. I am not a manual labour person. I don't like digging gardens. I don't really like decorating. We've decorated the whole house. I love the end product, but the creating, the painting a wall blank 5 times to cover something, I find it dull. It bores me. It's not mentally stimulating enough. So yeah, I'm lazy for it. But I'm not lazy. I'm unmotivated for certain things, but I still get them done. So I need to shut that critic up about me being lazy. But the fear of success for me is things like that. It's like having no time. All I do is work. I have to work all night, all the time. Do you know something? I love it. I love being busy. I work full time as a teacher. I do the podcast. I'm a dad. I'm an artist. I create illustrations. I work as a caricaturist. I write stuff. I'm making products and books. I want to make a video series. I love being busy. It makes me feel alive. So I don't care what this critic has got to say about me being lazy. I'm proving it wrong for a start. And so the fear of success is quite scary for people, because it's new territory. Anything that's new is going to scare you. It's new territory. So you're entering like uncharted waters, and fear is like blood to a shark. Your internal critic is straight in there having a go with it. So this kind of new uncharted territory. And what you're getting, what it is that if you're taking action and you're achieving, then you're getting new problems. And if you're getting new problems, that's a good place to be. You're better off having new problems than keep going over the old ones over and over again. Put yourself into a position where you do have that fear. Now, some of these kind of internal critics might tell you that you can't keep up with your orders. You never keep up with your orders once you're too busy. You're going to let everybody down. People are relying on you. It's going to take over your whole life. You're selling out is a good one, especially for fine artists. You're selling out. It shouldn't be commercial. That's a load of rubbish. People need to earn a living. The more money you make, the more you can do what you love. That's it. So money makes sense, and we don't get around all that kind of stuff. People want to buy your stuff. Brilliant. If you're not making the sort of work that can be sold, then you still need to sell. You still need to sell to get grants and government kind of money and lottery funding. You're still selling. You've still got a product to sell to someone, even if it's not a direct financial reward from the thing you're making. So this idea that you might be too busy is ridiculous. Really, you're going to put yourself in a position like that. There's always choice, and again, it's about turning off your fear with action, and it's about preparing, and it's about worst case scenarios. If you're in a situation where you can't keep up with demand, then look at Pam Glue on the second session of the podcast. Pam Glue is now working with interns, and she pays somebody to support her to make her stuff. And she was talking about being prepared for success. Being prepared for success is to make sure you've got product, and that's about preparation. So again, we're preparing. So that is fear number 4. We're going to smack fear in the face by taking action and preparing and worst case scenarios. Lastly, fear number 5 is the fear that the work's going to dry up. Eventually it will dry up. You're going to set up your business, you're going to work through it, and then one day you're just not going to have it. And it's known as the freelancer feast or famine. And it does happen. To be fair, it does happen when you get periods where you get loads of work in and periods where it's not so busy. So there's 3 ways we're going to sort out that fear. 1, again, preparation. You're going to prepare. Make sure that before you jack your day job in, before you tell your boss to stick it, you need to make sure you've prepared for the transition. So that means working out how much you need to make per month as a minimum, and then maybe just saving up enough to have 3 months as a buffer and to kind of protect you from any kind of dry spells. That's number 1. You're going to work your way up to giving up your job. So get to the point where you're earning your kind of commitment for your freelance and making money is starting to compete with your job to the point where you're not able to do either one as well as you need to do. And that's the point. That's the leap. So your leap becomes a smaller jump. If you're just starting out and you decide, I hate my job, I've got to leave, and you leave and you haven't done any preparation, you haven't built up a client, you haven't started making money, that leap is big. How are you going to get attention for yourself? So that is the first thing, is to prepare. So make sure you've got some kind of savings maybe. Make sure you've got the equipment you need. While you've got money coming in, buy the equipment you need. Get the space that you need. Make contacts. And try and take your paid income all the way up into the final point that you can before you leave, because then you've got yourself, you're kind of working to support your freelance career. So then you can start changing your mindset about the job that you're not enjoying to get it. You might love your job, so that's not so bad either. And another thing I would do is when you actually hand your notice in and tell them I'm going for it, your boss might become one of your clients. So they might want your services. So it's always best to leave professionally and positively. Be enthusiastic about it. Don't say, I hated my job and I hate this. Try and be as enthusiastic and committed as you can. Sell yourself on your job for now. Because if the worst case scenario that your business stops, you're not favourable anymore, and you don't get the work, and this fear becomes reality, then you've always got your old job that you can go back to and say, can I have some hours? And I've worked at the college twice. I've come back to work because of the course that was on offer. I wanted to teach on it. I wanted it to be my course. So that's the only reason why I've come back into teaching. But because I kept my relationships with these people, I was able to come back and do it. So part of your preparation is to make sure that you keep your relationships with the existing people fresh as well, so that you've always got that safety net. And build up your money, sort out your finances, sort your stall out, so get your products ready. This gives you an opportunity to get things ready before You have to be making money out of it. Okay, so first one again, prepare. Can't be clearer. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Right. Second thing, keep your past clients warm. Your past customers and your clients, keep them warm. Now, I've been reading a brilliant book, and I've been following him on YouTube, and it's a guy called Grant Cardone. It's Grant Cardone from the Cardone Show. He's an American, as you can tell by my beautiful accent, and he's a super salesman and millionaire. He's a little bit hard sell. It's not my style of things, like buy, buy, buy. But he's really motivating. And the book I'm reading is called Sell or Be Sold. And I've already bought the next book to read, which is the 10X Rule. But in Sell or Be Sold, he's talking about motivating and selling to people. It's basically how to get more sales and get out there and take action. And one of the brilliant things he was talking about in the book is about selling to your power base. And your power base is basically your past customers, your friends, your acquaintances, people you knew at school, your enemies. Enemies? Do you have enemies? But, people who you didn't get on with at school, people who you've had arguments with, people who you've not seen for years. They're going to still be easier to sell to than new prospects, okay? New clients. So you need to start getting back in touch with people. Your friends and your family, your support network, and they probably want some of the things that you've got to sell because they want to help you out as well. A friend of mine, Brett, if you go onto Facebook, it's Paintings by Brett is his Facebook page. Go over and like him. His mate of mine is one of my best mates from university. He lives down in Brighton still, and he's brilliant. And he's just got back into his work and started painting again. And, I'm friends with him on Facebook, and then I sent a message out to all of my friends to say, can you follow him? I'm doing it now on the podcast. So he's speaking to me, and I've not actually been to see him for about a year and a half. We still keep in touch on Facebook and stuff. We don't ring each other very often, but even so, he set it up and said, I've been listening to your podcast, and I've started painting, and he knows that I've always loved his work. So straight away, I've now got in touch with people. He's gone from having 5 followers to something like 65 followers because I put something out there. And then his other friends are putting stuff out there, and his wife's putting stuff out there. And so these networks grow and grow and grow. So your existing friends, acquaintances, and past customers are going to be the people that support your business and make sure that that work doesn't dry up. So you need to keep them warm. It's time to get in touch with some old friends. It's time to just drop them an email. If you've got anybody's birthday, send them a birthday card. Now, the fear, internal critical say, they're going to just think that you're only getting in touch with them because you want something. Imagine that I know you personally, but we haven't spoken for 2 years. I've not even spoken to you. I've not rang you. I've not spoken to you. And suddenly you get a birthday card through the post. Are you going to think, oh my God, what's he getting in touch with me for? No, you're not. You're going to think, wow, they've got in touch. I haven't spoken to them for ages. Oh, I've really missed them. I've realised I missed them. It kind of reminds people that you're there. A really great thing in the Sell or Be Sold is to send a birthday card, even if it's not their birthday. Send a birthday card, because first of all, one, it says I'm thinking about you, and two, they'll probably ring you and say it's not my birthday, and then you'll find out when the birthday is. So you can write that down and use that to send stuff. So keep them warm. Tell them about what you're doing, and it means basically getting an email list. And start doing a newsletter. You could do like a quarterly newsletter or a monthly newsletter like I am. So I want you to sign up to my newsletter so I can let you know about competitions and useful stuff. But then if I run a course, I can let you know about that. I can offer a discount and make you feel good and that kind of thing. So get an email list together. Now I use a company called Aweber. It's a monthly fee that I have to pay. You can use MailChimp, which gives you like a free period or a free amount of people to start with. But I use Aweber and I can send out HTML emails and it's all beautiful and it doesn't get spammed and all that kind of stuff. So try that as well. So build up those relationships, keep people warm, keep them interested, and send them new stuff. When you make new work, send it to them. If you get a new commission, let people know about it. If you have a baby, let them know. I'm going to be sending out when my baby's born and we can do this competition. Whoever's won, I'm going to send a picture of the baby and tell you who's won, who got the closest to the weight. So things like that. It's just keeping people warm, telling your story to them. This is the kind of final thing you can do to stop the work from drying up is innovate, constantly innovating. Update your products, update your portfolio, create new work. I know it's difficult to manage both the kind of businessy kind of side and the creativity side of it and making stuff, but people are interested in your product. And so you can't be stale and stagnant and just doing the same stuff over and over again. Create some new stuff. But the more variety you've got, the more you've got things to talk about, the more options people have to buy from you. So create new poems, create new, I don't know, stuffed toys, paintings, illustrations, update your portfolio, keep fresh and keep learning. Invest in your own learning. Get yourself onto Udemy or something like that. Follow some courses, try something new, see some exhibitions, and fill up your creative well so you can get new ideas. So go to some contemporary dance, go to a gallery, go and have a chat with an old friend and take a sketchbook with you. Go to a bookshop and where you can get a coffee and get all the books off the shelf. This is something I do all the time. Get a load of books off, write down some ideas, and then put the books back and don't buy it. Apart from mine, download mine. Okay, so you can constantly innovate. And so really, let's have a look back over that. You need to prepare first, you need to keep your clients warm, and then you need to innovate. And from that, you should keep a steady streaming. You should have some buffer money to keep you tied over and keep that money safe. So if you dip into it, as soon as money starts coming in, top up your float again so that you've still got that kind of thing. And the worst case scenario is you'll get some work not doing the creativity bit to support you. It's not a crime. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's just supporting. It's just income streams trickling down. So they are the 5 top freelancing fears and actions you can take to smack your internal critic across the mush. Okay, to keep it quiet. And they're the 5 that I think are the most prominent. What I'd like you to do is, if you've got any other fears, then I would like you to put them in the show notes, in the comments of the show notes, and tell me what other fears you've got. Because usually what you'll find is the fear that you've got is about how you think you can cope. It's about how your idea of how you're going to cope with something. So if you're under loads of pressure, you're probably worrying about how you can cope with that pressure. It's not the fear itself. It's your ability, if you've got the skills or the resources to handle it. So let's say I'm scared of heights. I'm scared of going high. I'm not really scared of heights. I'm scared of falling. I'm scared of falling and hurting myself and not being able to walk to get help and be stuck on a mountainside for 3 days and be eaten by eagles. Okay. If I was scared about ringing a client, I'm not really scared about picking the phone up and ringing and speaking because I can speak. I'm scared of the client thinking that I'm an amateur and my nerves getting the better of me and me looking stupid. So I'm really scared, actually, of looking stupid. When I was doing the podcast, when I first started the podcast, I was scared that my voice is whiny and that I wouldn't know what to talk about and that I'm a bit nasally and all of those kind of things. But you know what I did? I took action and thought, it doesn't matter that I stutter. It doesn't matter that I pause. And these things don't matter. What matters is the message that I want to get and about helping people. That is what I want to do. That's what gives me a buzz. I got an email from Lena Marino from Colombia, all the way from Colombia. I got an email last week to say thank you for the podcast. And so thank you, Lena. Sorry, I got your name wrong. But thank you, because that really boosted me up. And that is why I do the podcast. And that's the whole purpose of it. So to receive an email to tell me that you're enjoying it and it's inspiring you is keeping me going. So get in touch, people. I want to know. Get on my mailing list, get on my Facebook page, and subscribe to the podcast. Let me know that what I'm doing is right for you. Anyway, that is today's main show. Now we've got, you know what? Yep, it's the inspirational quote. And this inspirational quote comes from the American essayist and poet Ralph Waldo Emerson. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm going to print this off and have it above my computer on the wall. And this is it. Okay, you ready? When a resolute young fellow steps up to the sea... Sorry, I'll start again. When a resolute young fellow steps up to the great bully in the world, takes it boldly by the beard, he is often surprised to find it comes off in his hand, and that it was only tied on to scare away the timid adventurers. Take action. There is so many people not taking action because of fear. That already puts you in a successful position because you took action, you overcame your fear, and you shut your critic up. I want to know what you've achieved and what you've done from this. So let me know in the show notes. And until next time, keep busy and keep creating.